Anyway, the Bears lost to the Chargers. Oh, by the way, Joey, I have something for you. The Bears lost to the Chargers, and if you remember, Joey Bernard said,
different week.
Did you hear that neck crack?
I did hear the neck crack.
That was crazy. Wow, it's been a while since
he's here.
He's here.
Perfect timing. We're about to start.
You guys in the middle of filming?
We literally just started.
about to.
Yeah.
Just started?
Well, we just started recording. Like, we haven't said anything yet.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Inside Sports Podcast. I have Joey to my left and Jake Cruz to my right, and we're going to kick you off with some dogs at the vet. Let's already jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about your volleyball team that is bouncing back.
my volleyball team.
That's right.
By the way, I noticed last week you set me up, and I didn't spike it.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm sorry for the fans.
I was wondering where that was
was going to be a
coming
great comedic moment for the show. Very theatrical. I'm sorry I did not come through. But you know who did come through this past weekend was the volleyball team. Mm-hmm. And they won the games they were supposed to win, something that we've been asking them to do all season. Now, granted, it was against an Indiana State team who I believe they only have like one win on this, either one win in conference or just one win period on the season. Yeah, so that's a team you need to beat. And the first time this season, I don't even know why I hadn't looked at it yet. I took a look at the standings, and I was like, okay, how close are we to actually missing the conference tournament? And we are kind of close. We are 7th out of 8. You need to be in the top 8 to make the conference tournament. We are on thin ice here, but we have a chance this weekend to get some revenge victories against two teams that swept us about a month ago, Belmont and Murray State. Belmont's a team I think we should beat pretty handily, honestly. Murray State's a team that I still think we can beat them. I think we should beat them, but they dominated us pretty well at the beginning of October. So I'm pretty excited about a little bit of momentum this team has built. Let's see if we can keep it going. Coming back home, right, is always huge. So, yeah. Actually, no, they're not home. They're on the road. Apologies.
Anyway. They're on the road. Yep. And, Joey B., do you expect us to maybe have some nice road W's too? We're getting close to the end of the season here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of time left. Do you think that they can clutch up and hold on to at least a top 8 spot?
I think so. I think the hype around this team was real in the beginning of the season. I think we'll see that this week. Or this weekend, I should say. This will be telling of Ed Allen because I think these two games specifically will be the highest pressure situation with them being on the road and the last 3, I believe, all being at home.
Yeah.
So it'll be really pertinent to grab these 2 wins against teams that are not, we shouldn't sniff at as the season kind of comes here to a close. And, like Jay Cruz mentioned, if we don't grab some of these wins, there's a strong chance we might not even make it to the tournament. So I believe so.
That's right. And so, Joey B., I'm going to kick it right back to you and talk about our football team as they came off a 63-0 win over Western Illinois. Me and Jay Cruz talked last week about how we were scared. Oh, boy, we play down to our competition.
Yeah.
Not this week. We came out, smacked them right in the mouth. We were really, really happy to see that. They are 11th in the FCS polls, 6-2. And then sitting at 3-2 in the Missouri Valley, and we've got a big game this week against the team right next to us in the polls, South Dakota. What can we expect?
Yeah, well, just talking about the game previously, as one Baker Mayfield used to say, or hadn't mentioned before, we woke up feeling dangerous. 63-0, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I believe this is the biggest win in SIU history since 2010. Wow. That's just ridiculous. Specifically, LaShawn Lester, he had 3 scores this past weekend. So, I mean, they did the job that they needed to do, and Baker didn't really have to do much. He was out of it by the third quarter in general. So, we even got Hunter Simmons a chance to get a touchdown late in that game. So, that's great to see. I think we also shut him out. The defense needs to get as much credit as the offense with this game, too. I think probably more importantly, this defense needs to keep that type of attitude heading into these last 3 games because obviously we won't be playing opponents like Western Illinois anymore.
That's right.
So these teams like South Dakota, and I think the week after it's one of the Dakotas again.
North
Dakota State.
Yeah.
Which
they're not.
They're some big dogs.
That's right.
So specifically on the defensive side, we need to keep that type of mentality these next couple weeks, and with this being a home game, we've got to take advantage of those.
Jordan, he was talking about Baker. Baker is now closing in. This has to be the last record that he can possibly break, right? I mean, he's broken every single record because of the new COVID rule.
Yeah.
And he has 4 passing touchdowns to tie and 5 to break the record for most passing touchdowns ever. Do you think that he could get that against a team like South Dakota?
It's possible. I wouldn't say it's likely, but it's certainly possible. And, given the moment, we mentioned momentum with a volleyball team, I think a win like this against Western Illinois, who, again, no matter what their record has been, they've tripped us up in the past. I think you and I are both pretty surprised at how much we won by. We really flexed our muscles, and Nick didn't have to do much, like Joey mentioned. I think this was his chance to take a back seat, and he's really going to have to take center stage this Saturday because there's a lot on the line here, not just getting the win, obviously, but maybe looking forward to a potential home playoff game, just getting in the playoffs in general, a chance to beat a team that's among the top in the Missouri Valley Conference, just like us. So this is huge. I am really, really excited for this game.
Do you think that the cold affects our game plan at all? I
don't think so. No. I think they're pretty flexible with that. And with us, we're a veteran team, like you mentioned. So yeah, I think Nick Baker can have a really, really, really big game. It's just going to be up to everyone else to step up. We almost know at this point the defense is going to do their job. Right, and a team like South Dakota, I should mention, they lost 37-3 to South Dakota State. We only lost by a touchdown. So make of that what you will. But I mean, when you're talking common opponents, I mean, we stopped one of the best teams, not only in FCS but really like all of America.
Right.
Last week. So
yeah,
so that was really, 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 really not really nice to see, but it was very interesting to see how much they struggled with them. That gives us a little bit more hope. I'll be curious to see what the general public sentiment is around this game. Maybe take a look at the spreads when they come out on Saturday morning, just to see what smarter people than us really think about this team, because I, for one, think we can and should win this game on Saturday, honestly.
Wholeheartedly agree. And so now we're going to move on to the court for men's and women's basketball. Both teams losing some senior leaders for their programs. Men's basketball, we have Marcus Domask, who's now at Illinois, and Lance Jones, who's now at Purdue. And then for the women's basketball team, Promise Taylor obviously ended up graduating. So, Jay Cruz, I'm going to start with you. Both of these teams here are middle of the pack. What do you think that's right where they belong, or maybe they're going to perform a little bit better, maybe they'll be a little bit worse than expected?
Yeah, the women's basketball team in their second year, they have a lot of returning players, though. I mean, Promise obviously was the most important. We went to her a lot on the offense and defensive end to make plays. The men's team on the other side, a few, familiar faces. Xavier Johnson's a guy I really think is going to step up this year for this team. I think he's a very sneaky, depending on team performance, Missouri Valley Player of the Year candidate.
Oh, wow.
Very sneaky,
okay.
But I do think it could happen. I've got a chance to watch a couple of their practices. He's shining. I really like what I see from him.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think both teams are going to try to find their identity early on in this season. I'm honestly more confident in the women's team on that front because toward the end of last year, we dove extensively into the Breakfast Club. You guys did an excellent job covering that last year on a number of different fronts. And I learned a lot through that. And I think Kelly Bond White has done an excellent job at establishing a culture for this team. Again, like I mentioned, they bring back a lot of the same players. Q Love is still here. So her veteran leadership, Lanaya Randall as well, Shamira Williams. I mean, I could go down the list. We've still got a lot of really good players. So I'm pretty excited to see how both of these teams kind of fit into the pack against maybe some other high major opponents as well. Both of them play Oklahoma State. The men's gets them here, which is going to be an awesome night in this town. So if you're in the area, I say this almost every week about every team, but come to these games.
Yeah,
because it's going to be awesome.
There's some really good players on Oklahoma
absolutely.
State, by the way.
Yeah, the Dog Pound's going to be rocking. So yeah, it should be fun.
It should be absolutely fun. Now we talk about he's a big believer in Xavier Johnson this year. Obviously, he's buying stock in him. That's probably my biggest concern is who's going to be the main scorer, right? Joey, would you say that you agree with him? And on another front, with the women's basketball team, I know that myself, I'm a Bond White believer. Are you a Bond White believer?
I am a Bond White believer. And just somebody specifically that I'm excited to see more as she's gotten more time with Kelly is Tierney Brown. And Tierney Brown, I don't know why I put a D on the end of her name for some reason, but as we've seen her from the past year, I believe she's grown a lot more as a leader with this team specifically, as I feel like every player on this team. Becoming a upperclassman on this team as a junior, I think she can become just one of our bigs on this team, a more important big on this team, I should say. And some of these other girls like Q Love, as we've seen her a little bit too, she's
been starting
really
for a long
fast paced, and she brings that fast paced type of play to this team. I think it'll be interesting to see with an extra year with this team under Kelly. We saw this fast paced play, but it was kind of. They had a lot more turnovers than we'd like to expect.
It was messy. I think it's respectful to say that it was a little messy, right?
As you can kind of expect with teams with a new head coach, a new game plan, and things like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see if some of these turnovers get cleaned up this year with Kelly as another year approaches. So it'll be an exciting form of basketball to watch, I think.
Absolutely, and so we hope best of luck to both our men's and women's basketball teams. And so now, me and Jay Cruz are going to talk a little bit about college football. If we end up, it might be Jay Cruz, it might be Joey B. We might surprise you folks.
We'll see.
We never know.
Maybe get another round of Stat Boy Joey. That was electric a couple weeks ago.
Loved it,
folks. I lied to you at home. I am an untruthful man. We've got Joey Bernard doing the stats for college football this week.
I get to do it again.
Jay Cruz is a quitter on the Inside Sports podcast. He says that he hates us. He actually stormed out.
Well, this is his, championship. What am I trying to say? This is his, what he gets for doing so well on his picks.
Is that what
he gets to take a break?
Really? Is that what
being the stats guy?
I think it's honestly, I think it's BS. I think we should kick him off permanently.
No longer.
No more Jay Cruz. No, he has to apparently announce a women's basketball game.
Well, he's stats guy tonight.
Oh, that's a stats guy tonight? Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Multifaceted Jay Cruz.
Multifaceted Jay Cruz. He really does everything. It's kind of a, what do they call that? Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife.
Let's go ahead and jump into these games. So, first, unfortunately, is Kansas State at my Texas Longhorns. Now, I'm so thankful that this is in Austin. However, folks, Cole is scared crapless. We're going to say crap instead of the other
poopless.
But yes, poopless. I'm scared poopless. And not because I don't have faith in this Texas team. Obviously, I've talked a multitude of times about how awesome I think that these guys really are. However, we're missing our starting quarterback. He's hurt, and I'm not the biggest Malik Murphy believer. So before I make my pick, I'd like Joey to read off the stat that maybe could help my decision.
Will it help? We'll find out here. Let's see. Chris Kleiman is the best in the Big 12 Conference against the spread in conference games, going 27-13-2, so 67.5%. Over 2/3 of the time, he beats the spread.
If there is one coach that you do not want to play on a week like this, near the end of the season, where your team has playoff hopes and you want to get things going, but your starting quarterback's hurt, it is Chris Kleiman. This is literally my number one fear. The Kansas State Wildcats are rolling right now. Their quarterback's playing excellent. They have an excellent offensive system. Their defense is playing great. This one scares me. With that being said, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with Longhorn Nation, just because I really want guys at home, and girls, don't want to exclude the girls, but I need this. If Texas makes the playoff, guys, you're going to see a whole different Cole Daly, and I think that we actually have a chance this year, and we need to win this one. I thought the Oklahoma game was the biggest game of the season. I thought the Alabama game was the biggest game of the season. Little did I know that old Kansas State coming into town would be this important.
So is this pick out of desperation?
This pick is I don't want to hurt my team any more than they're already. I don't want to put them up against anything more than they're already facing, because I've been doing a good job this year. We're at 24-12. I believe in myself this year, and because of that, I don't want to pick K-State. But as that stat you just read off against the spread, I think Kansas State covers. I think they're pretty freaking good. Let's move on to this next game, Missouri at Georgia. So we've got probably the best team that Georgia's played this year. I think that's fair to say. Missouri's got things rolling right now under Eli Drinkwitz. But they're playing the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens as well, which is no easy task. Joey, go ahead and tell me the stat, would you?
Kirby Smart. He loves bright lights. He loves the bright lights.
Sure does.
He's 27-14 against the spread against ranked opponents in his Georgia head coaching career.
That's right. And Kirby Smart, as some of you may know, is the head coach for the Georgia Bulldogs. This is why I am going to go ahead and ride with the Georgia Bulldogs. It's going to be a great game. I think we're going to see how good Missouri really is. But come on, guys. I mean, if there is one team that we've seen show up in big games, as Joey mentioned, under the bright lights, it's been Kirby Smart. And I think that his team's got some dogs, not just because they're the Bulldogs, but he's got some dogs on him.
He must be a pretty smart guy. There's somewhere in there.
Love it.
A joke. Better than that one.
Love to hear it. On to this next game. The Battle of Bedlam, I believe, is what it's called. Maybe I'm getting confused.
Oklahoma?
But, it's Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's got things going a little better right now. This is a great rivalry game every year, and I feel like these two teams are closer than many would have thought before the start of this week, because I was correct in picking Kansas over the pretending Oklahoma Sooners, who aren't all that good. That being said, they're still a whole lot better than Oklahoma State. I don't even need the stat. I want you to read it for the fans at home, but Oklahoma's going to win this game because Oklahoma State is just not it.
You didn't even want to hear about another spread god that Jay Cruz loves to list for us.
I know,
here.
Mike Gundy. I mean, he's incredible. Oklahoma State head coach. Tell me a little bit about him.
Mike Gundy, he's hitting at over 55%, against the spread in conference games as a home underdog, as the home team after a win, and against ranked opponents over half the time.
I mean, he is just, I'd say he's still probably demigod, but he is, him and Kyle Whittingham, you may have heard us reference him.
I am.
Kyle Whittingham is the original spread god. Those two are the longest tenured head coaches in all of college football right now, both leading back to, I believe, all the way back to like 2004.
Wow.
So they've been there. They're instilled in that program.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not even the longest, though, because I think maybe Whittingham was 2007, because Kirk Ferentz has been at Iowa for a long time. Whatever the point is, both of them have been there for forever. Doesn't matter to me. I think Oklahoma's still probably a lot better than Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State's right behind.
Are we going to get a live switch here?
We might get a live switch. We're going to go with a live think on it. We're sticking with Oklahoma for right now, but we'll see. Let's get talking about some other games.
Begrudgingly picking
right
now.
Right, begrudgingly. I think my heart wants Oklahoma State because I hate the Sooners, obviously. I'm going to stick with Sooners. I'm going to lock it in right now. Locking it in. Next game. Washington at USC. This is going to be an offensive. It's going to be one of the you guys got to watch this one. Even though it's going to be on late, it most definitely will be. Fans at home have to watch this one. It's going to be Caleb Williams versus Michael Penix, two of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. I know Caleb Williams has been getting some hate, but we got to remember it is Caleb Williams that we're talking about here. Joey, go ahead and read me the stat that Jay Cruz has got down for you.
So this is a small sample size, but Kalen DeBoer is only 2-5 against the spread as a road favorite since he got to Washington in 2022. By the way, did you know DeBoer was SIU's offensive coordinator from 2010 to 2013? That is wild.
That is wild.
Jay Cruz,
we haven't read the stats before this.
Feeling Jay Cruz's presence without him even being here is wild right now.
That is wild. And he is an incredible head coach. I am ashamed that we let him go. That sucked. No shade to current head coach Nick Hill, but I think it's fair to say we'd rather have Kalen DeBoer still on staff here. Wow, that is really, really incredible. I've almost been known for my love of Washington as of right now. And it's funny that Jay Cruz uses this stat for Kalen DeBoer because Jay Cruz is leading heavily on USC. We've talked a lot about this game leading up. This one's tough. It's going to be an offensive battle. It's at USC. I think it's not that they have the best home field advantage, but USC is at least a lot better than like the LA Chargers or LA Rams. Like, people at least kind of show up for college football. It can get popping when you have players like Caleb Williams and the stars that they have on their roster. It's going to be interesting. I think Washington has been doing a lot of hiding what they're actually going to do. It's I don't know how to describe it, because they've had some very, very rough weeks here, and people don't believe in them all that much anymore. Mm-hmm. But I think they've been doing it for this game. They know that this game means a lot. I think they have Utah coming up here soon. I could be wrong on that. I'm going to stick with my heart on this one. We're doing a lot of, aside from the OU game, we're going with a lot of sticking with the heart. I'm going to go with Washington in this one, despite Jay Cruz's, what's the word? Lack of courage in the in Washington's ability. I'm a Washington buyer. I've been buying their stock for a long time, and I think that they will inevitably. This could be rough for Caleb Williams coming up here soon. We might see him sit out if his team isn't all that good.
So, me as an NFL fan, just have a question. I paid attention to a little bit of Caleb Williams just because I know he's supposed to be like the number one pick in the draft.
Right.
Can you give me maybe an NFL comparison to Michael Penix?
Michael Penix is a college football quarterback. This guy, He'll probably get drafted late first, early second, but there's not a whole lot there. I'm not gonna say there's not a whole lot there to love, because there is. I'm thinking off the top of the dome here, but like absolute ceiling, Geno Smith, like. Kind of plays like Geno too.
Geno Smith.
He makes risky throws.
Like 2022 Geno Smith?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he makes risky throws. He's got some some balls. He's got some balls. He's got some balls.
Is he a bigger guy, Michael Penix?
No, he's not. He's actually skinny, but he's a lefty too, which is intriguing, right? Because there's not a whole lot of lefty QBs.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but I'd say Geno kind of plays, he's weird. He's just a weird guy. Jordan, I'm worried he's going to be a Jordan Love-like story. I wouldn't be like Packers should pick Michael Penix because...
What, you think a team is going to be high on him, trade up in the draft to get him?
Not even that.
Not even that?
I don't think anybody's as dumb as the Packers were there for Michael Penix. I think it's tough because I'm just thinking of things on the top of my head, but that sounds about right. He might be, honestly, now that I think about it, he's like Broncos Russell Wilson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
I don't want that
right.
on my team.
Right. It's something where you don't know. Except he's but he's kind of the opposite because Russell Wilson at his prime was so good at throwing on the sidelines.
On the run.
Yeah. Like on the run on the sidelines. Michael Penix is more... He can throw on the run really well, which makes me think of Russell Wilson. But he's really good at throwing in between the hashes, like in between. Like he likes a lot of that stuff that's in the middle of the field.
Right.
Moving on. LSU at Bama. One of the better rivalries we have in this sport. I'm not super high on the LSU Tigers. And I'm not... It's weird because I've been riding with Bama a lot. But I think we just have to understand that it's Bama, guys. It's Bama. Like... Say what you will, but it's still Nick Saban. It's still Bama. Joey, read me the stat, would you?
The over is 5-2 in games where LSU is the road team in the Brian Kelly era. The Inside Sports Stats and Info Department believes that this favors the Tigers in this top 15 matchup, a.k.a. Jay Cruz.
Jay Cruz has been very anti-Bama this entire season. I've been very pro-Bama. Not that I like them at all. In fact, it would probably make me happier if LSU wins this one. The only thing is I'm a Jane Daniels hater. I'm an LSU hater.
You were a pro-Bama player, whatever you want to call it, when they played against Texas, and Texas beat them this year, didn't they?
Yeah. I
think you picked Bama.
Bama, just because you got to believe in Bama, and I'm going to stay believing in Bama. I think that LSU's offense is really, really good. I really, 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 really like their wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. I also like Brian Thomas Jr. They have LSU's like they're churning out the wide receivers again, so watch out for Malik Neighbors. That being said, I'm still not a huge believer in Jay Daniels, and I think that this Bama squad is just far too good. So I'm going to go with Bama. You may notice that there are 5 games instead of 4, but folks, it's because we love you so much, and there's just too much good college football this week. We just absolutely had to do it.
It's more football.
It's right. It is far more football.
Enjoy where we got it.
And so, unfortunately, although Joey did step in with this, no MLB, because as of right now, you lead the way on that. We're
in the middle of the World Series right now. So as of this recording of this podcast on Wednesday, we are 2 hours away from the start of Game 5 of the World Series.
Right.
we thought that if we decided to talk about the World Series before the final results happened, then it'd probably be it would be out of date content by the time this comes out. So
That's right.
we thought we would hold off until next week. Best case scenario, I think Rangers win. They're already up 3-1. I mean, come on.
The Rangers should win.
Rangers should win easily.
Jay Cruz should be getting a nice pot.
Jay
of money
Cruz.
coming
Now,
his way.
me and Jay Cruz are old enough, so we can talk about this.
Yeah.
But Jay Cruz is going to win a lot of money when the Rangers
We
win
probably shouldn't be
tonight.
saying that. We might have to cut this. We should probably cut.
A decent amount. That's
Just
we'll
say Jay
that.
Cruz made a very smart investment.
Jay
in
Cruz
May.
made a very smart investment earlier in this year.
You can keep that in, Jay Cruz. You can keep it. We're us giving you a little praise here.
But yeah, World Series is going on. It's almost done. We're kind of in this weird moment in the week where we're not totally sure when it's going to get done, and with when we upload these podcasts, it might be outdated information that we're giving out. So thought it'd be best to just hold off a week.
That's right. That's right. So let's go to the return of Jay Cruz. He's back. So now, folks, we're all back at the table, and this is where I hand the baton off to our big, strong man over here, Jay Cruz, to talk
Emphasis on big and strong.
Emphasis on big and strong.
Well, my mind is big and strong right now because I am 13-2 in my last 15. I did lose a game last week. I'm so sorry to the fans out there. But I went 2-1. But I continue my hot streak. Cole went 1-2 once again, and Joey went 0-3 once again. Joey continues to amaze me with how terrible his picks have been.
It really has been
in the last. what you told me before the show started? Your record was what, like 9-6 at one point?
1-12 in my last 13. I was 9-6 at one point.
That's impossible.
Good Lord.
How do you do that?
So since we moved into our new studio,
it's the new studio. It's the new studio.
It's the new studio. There's a ghost in here that's just haunting my picks. This whiteboard, he's just erasing them all.
Wow.
I'm so sorry, JB. I say this every week too, since I've been hot, but I do have to respect Cole. He's still over 60% is ridiculous. 41.7 CP for Joey. The man who came up with the not CCP. Wait, no, it is
CPP.
Oh yeah.
Correct pick percentage.
Sorry,
get it right. Respect.
Sorry. Okay, CPP is just tanking us right now. Like our overall CCP is hurting because of Joey Bernard. Speaking of hurting, we're gonna go to the state of the team segment. I wouldn't say either of our three teams look particularly good. Now the Lions won, which is why we'll start with them because we start with winners here.
That's right.
I guess we can't really complain, or I guess we really can't judge other teams in the NFC North because at least the Lions are picking up the slack. So go ahead, Cole. Take us through your Detroit Lions, that Monday night victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's right. Well, it was just a good game to watch. I honestly didn't even tune into a whole lot of it because I knew that we'd end up winning.
That's fair.
I mean, it's just it's the Raiders. I mean, we talked about the Raiders this morning. They've announced that they'll be starting Aiden O'Connell over Jimmy Garoppolo. They fired their head coach. They fired their general manager. I mean, that place is in a complete rewind. They are now in full tank mode.
You broke them.
Yeah, we broke them.
You did break them.
We broke their spine. We were.
Yeah.
It's like Bane and Batman. That one scene. That was us to the Raiders.
Yeah.
But on that, not really on that note, but we have like the easiest schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah.
There's a chance we finish as the 1 seed.
There is a chance.
And I'm not saying that we're all that special, but we play the Bears twice.
Yep.
Count those as two
those
wins. We play the Packers once.
That's a win.
Count that as a win. We play the Vikings twice without Kirk Cousins.
That's 2 wins.
2 more wins. I mean, and then next week we play the Chargers, and then we play the Cowboys and the Saints. Those are the 3 best teams that we have to play the rest of the way.
I see at least 2-1 in that.
Right.
At least.
I mean, this is going to be easy. I can't wait. We play the Broncos. That game's just going to be fun because they won't be able to move the ball on us. I'm excited for the rest of the season, and sure would suck to have a L team.
But you can't even act like you're faithful with this team. You randomly picked them last year.
I did, and
only
I've
will
lucked
tell.
into quite the situation here.
Yeah.
I've always liked the Lions, but I said, you know what, I'm going to fully commit here, and I did choose to commit at the right time.
You did.
Can't
That
hate
you
on
did.
me.
Are you a little worried? I listened to a couple Detroit radio stations, and they were extremely angry that they made 0 moves at the deadline.
It was disappointing to see, especially with how weak our defensive back room is, that we weren't more aggressive on that front. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think we're a team that's built, especially with that Dan Campbell culture, right? He's very much, how do I say this? I don't know if this makes sense to people, but they're kind of, I think the Lions are one of the most connected teams because of that Dan Campbell culture of hey, we all love each other, blah, 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 football, all that stuff. But I think what would have been a shame is if they had traded somebody that people thought were really important to, say you trade, I'm going to throw a name out. Let's go Jamison Williams. We traded Jamison Williams for Rasul Douglas. I don't know if that trade works, but point is, you throw a guy to get another guy that may be more helpful, right? A lot of Lions fans would give up Jamison Williams at this point. However, they're family. I feel like the consistency that they have, they're almost like the Nuggets in basketball, where they've just been playing with the same guys for a long time, and I think that's what works for them.
Yeah. I guess the one trade that they did make was for Donovan Peoples-Jones from the Browns. Now, is that a sign to you that maybe they are a little concerned about Jamison Williams because he has not looked good?
He has not
at all in his Lions career, and obviously he's dealt with suspensions and health issues, but do you think that that's partially why they made that trade?
I don't think it's over for Jamison Williams. However, we're going to start seeing, if you told me he becomes John Ross, which I feel like is his player comparison because he's quick.
Yeah.
And John Ross was drafted 4th, I believe. Maybe he was 5th in a draft or something, which I know Jamison Williams was 11th or 12th, but I felt that was too high for Jamison Williams. He's not going to be a 1. I mean, that's just not. I don't think that's the case anymore. But I think he could still find a role here. I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones is an awesome pickup because he's been balling out for the Browns this season. Yeah. So I'm more than happy with what we decided to do on that front. Awesome. Not like we need any help on offense.
Yeah, and they finally unlocked Jahmyr Gibbs too. Now we'll see what happens when they get Montgomery back. But how about Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
The next 2 teams that we are not forced to talk about them, but I guess we kind of.
This is the
obligated
part of the podcast when everyone starts to fall asleep.
Yeah, absolutely. The Packers and the Bears. I guess the Packers lost by less, barely, than the Bears, so we're going to start with them. Joey, I don't even know what to say anymore.
No, I just think just embrace the suck at this point. I mean,
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Should I restart that?
No, keep going.
Okay.
Keep
going.
I don't know why I had a bug in my throat.
Leave that little horse
yeah.
That's how you feel about the Packers and Bears right now.
I feel like that's why we keep it in.
Yeah, that's why we keep it in. No, at this point, I just have to embrace the idea that this team is going to suck, and we need to. Before the trade deadline ended, we got rid of Rasul Douglas, who was probably our most exciting player so far this year in terms of. I knew he was going to be a very, very good number 2 corner for us, but he had been above and beyond that so far this year, and we got rid of him. So that tells me all I need to know about what this front office says about the rest of what they should expect the rest of the year. There's a conundrum happening with the Packers for some reason about they are significantly worse in the first half and significantly better in the second half of games so far this year in all categories, specifically on offense. And what is that a sign of? I'm going to say that's a sign of how young this team is, specifically on offense in general. We could kind of get away with that I'm going to say last year too, but I'll say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because we had a veteran quarterback and we had at least one veteran wide receiver that we could rely on. We don't even have that anymore. It's all young guys that we can't get away with one crucial drop. We had crucial drops from all of our wide receivers, all of our tight ends this week. It's just going to happen with these young guys. We just don't have that type of room. And the way we've built this roster up to this point, that's just how it is this year for the 2023 Packers. So I'm miserable.
You know what's interesting about this Packers team is I feel like this is the first time, you can obviously say this in a long time, but they lack direction. They're like the Chicago. Yeah. I'm doing a lot of comparisons to NBA teams, I guess, today, but they're like the Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
like they don't suck enough, but They're nowhere near good.
Right. Yeah.
They're nowhere near good.
Purgatory.
I would rather suck way worse than this than be somewhat talented,
Right.
but yet so young that
Right.
you know you're not going to be very good. Like, I just feel like this is the worst spot to be in. We have
bad.
no direction. So
Do you think that the Bears and Saints games really like distorted everyone's view of this Packers team like early on? Like that Bears game, obviously they dominated in the second half.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. It's sort of mind you. I mean, Jordan Love started off his fourth quarter comeback against the Saints with 2 crazy long pass interference calls that got them from like the 30-yard line down to the 10, and then
crazy.
he just like, I think it was, he rushed it in for the score. Maybe that was the 2-point conversion, whatever it was. But I mean, without those 2 really crucial pass interference calls that the Saints gave us, I don't think that win happens.
Yeah.
And the Bears game, I'm just thinking is a fluke now at this point. Like,
Yeah.
this offense is not that good.
No, it really isn't. Somebody knew that from the moment that week 1 happened. But I won't.
It's hard to call it a fluke game when it was a toilet bowl, but
It was a toilet
that
bowl.
leads right into you, Jake.
Yeah, speaking of toilet bowl, the Bears have. I don't know how they continue. Every week I say to myself, okay, this couldn't possibly get worse. It got worse. There's just this thing that it's a cycle. Like the NFL is about cycles over and over again, right? The Bears for the millionth year in a row had a backup come in and like play better than the starter, and Tyson Bagent became this cult hero for NFL, not even just Bears fans, but like NFL fans, and people were calling him the next Brock Purdy, which Brock Purdy, my gosh, he's looked awful the last few weeks, but yeah, Tyson Bagent is not a starting quarterback. Some of us normal people knew that the whole time. Some other people, Chris Collinsworth. Oh, this guy should be kicked off of television for driving this narrative on Sunday Night Football that like Justin Fields can learn a lot from Tyson Bagent. These are things he said on Sunday Night Football, and I don't understand why he acted like this dumb casual fan who just jumped on the Tyson Bagent bandwagon and said that he's the guy. And the Bears have done this forever. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. It was Caleb Haney at one point in like 2010. Brian Hoyer, yes. It was Chase Daniel when Trubisky got hurt. It was Nick Foles when Mitch went out in the 2020 season. There's definitely some names I'm forgetting. There's one really good one I was going to mention. But regardless, this happens all the time. And I don't think people are going to understand how dumb it is to do that because it just seems to always work out that way. Every time the Bears bring in a backup, he wins like his first start, and then the second start he reminds you, there's
Josh McCown.
Yeah, Josh McCown is another one. Like there's a reason these guys are backups, okay?
I was so high on Josh McCown as a kid.
Yeah. He was
so
awesome.
high.
He was awesome for like 3 games, right? That's just how it works for the Bears. And so some things change, but some things remain the same forever and ever, and they will forever torture me. I guess the other part of this chaos is that the trade deadline, obviously, the Packers didn't do anything, by the way.
We got rid of Rasul.
Oh, of course, Rasul Douglas.
We got a third rounder. We got rid of Rasul and a 5th for a 3rd, which I hated.
Yeah. The Bears made one of the more surprising trade deadline acquisitions. Sure. For the second year in a row, Ryan Poles is acting like we are gunning for a Super Bowl and traded for Montez Sweat, who is a really good player. And I think people are comparing this to like, oh, he's doing it again, like comparing it to the Claypool trade. This is so much different than that. Now, obviously, it was a bad trade, and I think he would be the first to tell you that. Claypool, I think at the time was like a guy that they thought they could fix him, because they thought it was just an attitude thing with the Steelers, but really he's just messed up, right?
Lost.
Sweat is a legitimate top, probably 10 edge rusher in the NFL, and the fact that him and Chase Young both got traded away from the Commanders, like that's crazy. That, by the way, that the Commanders couldn't like form a good team with those guys on the line. It's just crazy,
right?
But Montez Sweat, I think, will end up being a good player. Was a second-round pick worth it? Only time will tell. This is not a very good, looking ahead a little bit, this is not a very good edge rushing class. So I kind of understand why, with the 2 really high picks the Bears are going to have, why Ryan Poles did that.
Can I ask, isn't his contract expiring after this year?
It is, so I'm hoping
you're gonna
and
have to
praying.
overpay him ridiculously.
Yeah, that's the only part of this is if we trade for him and don't extend him, like we have a lot of cap room. Don't forget about that.
I believe.
So if we don't pay him, then Ryan Poles should just be fired because there was no reason to give up a second round pick for a guy you're going to use for half of a meaningless season.
I was going to say because he won't want to stay with a. I mean, no offense, but I mean, you obviously crap team. Like
yeah, no, but if we give him the right amount of money, he will.
Probably.
And if we add more guys in the season and we make a couple good draft picks, I could see why a free agent would want to sign with the Bears now.
I think it's a big gamble to make for the Chicago Bears.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is there such a thing as...
The second round picks are nice.
Like,
sorry.
No, they are.
Guaranteeing a contract after their current contract is done in trades like this? Like, yeah. I just wonder if there was some deep talking with this and they guaranteed that they would probably give him a contract.
Yeah, I'm hoping
yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And the other thing was with Jalen Johnson requesting a trade like at midnight on Monday, and then we ended up not trading him. Like, what's going on? The Bears are just – they are the perfect example of dysfunction in sports. Nobody knows. Nobody's on the same page. I think our head coach, Matt Eberflus, is one of the biggest clowns I've ever heard talk ever. His press conferences just make me want to, like, just – I don't want to say anything terrible, but they make me want to just bash my head into the wall. And, again, where we're going, I don't know. I'm done giving opinions. So, anyway, the Bears lost to the Chargers. Oh, by the way, Joey, I have something for you. The Bears lost to the Chargers. And if you remember, Joey Bernard said he agreed to wear a Bears jersey if the Bears lost for some reason. Cole Daly was smart and said and would do it if the Bears win. So Joey Bernard, it has my name on it. Sorry about that. But you are supposed to wear a Bears jersey.
You lying POS.
Yeah, I lied and said I didn't have it.
That's awesome.
Asked, so before the podcast started, I asked Jay Cruz, oh, man, where's your, like, we forgot to do something. And he was like, what? And I was like, you forgot to bring your jersey because the Bears freaking lost, and I guaranteed you that I would wear the jersey.
Oh, look at that.
You're tricky.
Looks so good on him, doesn't it?
And,
Navy and orange has never looked so good.
Dude, everything is bad in my life. My picks, my Packers. I'm wearing this jersey now.
I didn't forget.
Never forget.
We never forget.
Never forget.
Speaking of which, let's go to the reason why Joey is wearing that jersey now. His picks. Let's just start with you, Joey. Lead everyone off. Dolphins at Chiefs. Going to be an incredible game, but you have to wake up early for it because it is in Germany on Sunday morning. So, Joey, lead us off. Who is going to lose this game?
I'll tell you who to not pick, basically. So just think of that whenever I talk. I'm picking the Chiefs. It's a neutral site game, so they don't have home field advantage, but neither do the Dolphins. In Germany, it'll be early morning of that day. I think this is just going to be a bounce-back week after a really weird loss against the Broncos last week where their offense just couldn't get going in the red zone. I don't think the Dolphins' defense is the greatest, but they're not terrible either. I just think this will be a bounce-back week for the Chiefs. And how is correct me if I'm wrong, did Travis Kelce get hurt in the Broncos game? Or he did not?
No.
I'm just
Mahomes was sick. I knew that.
Yeah,
was
he was.
That's what it was. Okay. I'm picking Chiefs in this one. Not confident about it. I'm not confident about any of my picks this week because they're all good games, quite frankly.
They're great games.
Picking Chiefs.
Cole Daly.
I just switched my pick to the Dolphins.
I saw that.
One part of it is because I'm just trying to catch up with Jay Cruz, which might ultimately be my downfall, obviously. However, from what I've seen from the Dolphins this year, aside from obviously some weird games that happens with every good team in the NFL, I just feel like they're really, really good. And like we talked about, the Chiefs didn't look all that great against the Broncos. And I don't know, just there's weird stuff that happens in these overseas games. Like there's just really, really weird stuff. I don't know if Arrowhead Nation is gonna fly out. Miami, everybody's heard of Miami.
They'll be there.
So I feel like they might have like a weird home field advantage despite
all the bandwagon Chief fans will be there.
Yeah, but
Patrick Mahomes. It's not in London. Never mind. Anyway,
I think Tyreek Hill is gonna be. It's gonna be like a revenge game kind of thing for him. He's always gonna work really, really
hard. I didn't
hard.
even think about that aspect.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like he's gonna put everything into this one, and I'm gonna go with Dolphins. I've really liked their team this year. which I didn't really before the season, as we talked about.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Dolphins. If the Bears don't win, I hope they win it. They're a really, really fun team to watch. But I actually am picking the Chiefs for the reverse of what you just said. I think they're probably one of the few teams in the league that know how to cover Tyreek Hill. Obviously, having him in the Chiefs offense forever. So yeah, give me Kansas City. I am agreeing with Joey, which probably doesn't bode well for me, but he's wearing the Bears jersey, so maybe he's smarter now. Maybe
He's smarter. He learned his lesson, that's for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of teams that have an abnormal amount of fans in weird places for no reason, the Dallas Cowboys are playing at the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday afternoon. Eagles coming off a nice, well, I don't know if you call it a nice win. It was a pretty good game, though, against the Washington Commanders. And then the Dallas Cowboys crushed the Los Angeles Rams. I thought the Rams were going to keep that one close, but how about the Cowboys coming out? Not at all. Coming out with a huge victory. Cole Daly, who is winning this one.
So the Cowboys had their little fun week that they always have earlier in the season, the first half of the season, where they, somehow Dak throws for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's over. I mean, the Eagles probably. I know earlier on this pod I said, well, I guess I shouldn't say anything because I'm going to curse them when I do. But Eagles have probably looked like the best team in the league. Aside from, like I said, the Niners, I do think that the Niners are still really, really good. However, the Eagles have something the Niners don't, and that's a really freaking awesome quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and ride the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with Cole Daly on this one. I think the Eagles have finally hit their stride. They've got a lot of their defense back. Darius Slay is back. DeAndre Swift is back. He looks really, really good. So, yeah, fly, Eagles, fly. Joey, are we all three going to go Eagles?
All three of us are.
Oh, crap.
Is Kevin Byard going to be playing this game?
That I don't know.
Because he was traded for pretty early. I feel like it's pretty likely he plays in this one.
He might. I feel like he would. But I still trust the Eagles defense in this game, regardless. And Dak throws his picks. He loves to do that against good defenses. So I'm going Eagles in this one against a really good rushing team, the team with the better quarterback, the team that's at home. I don't know if anybody in the world other than Cowboys fans should be picking the Cowboys, to be honest. I feel like it's not as close as what people might think it is just because it's a divisional game,
Yeah.
Joey might get one in the win column this week.
He may.
One.
Hopefully, either that or we're gonna lose this one outright because of Joey. If the Eagles lose, it will be because of Joey.
Yeah, right.
And then the final game, a game that did not finish last year. I think we all know what I'm talking about by now. The Bills are at the Bengals. Are we calling this a Damar Hamlin revenge game? Or what are we calling that? I've heard a lot of different names for this game.
Are we allowed to make jokes about that? Or
That wasn't a joke.
I think enough time has passed.
I won't make a joke about that. But I'll just go ahead and give my pick now. I am going Bills in this one. I am, I guess, on the
Damar Hamlin revenge game
train. I guess I don't know. I am going Bills.
T. Higgins,
and this is going to be the final time. Okay.
Why?
This is going to be the final time I pick against the Bengals this year if they end up winning this game, because I don't know why. I just don't like the Bengals for some reason, and I always pick against them. We all three picked the Niners to beat them last week. They had their way with them. So this one final time. This one final time, I'm picking against the Bengals. I'm going Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who just recently signed Leonard Fournette for absolutely no reason at all. But anyway, Joey, are you going to join me on the revenge train? Or does Joe Burrow continue to own the Buffalo Bills?
I'm back on the Joe Burrow train. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned he's just done for the year. His ankle is just so screwed up, and they should, I don't know, pack their bags, I guess was the right word to put what I was explaining. But he looked really good against the Niners, and, I mean, the Niners' defense is very, very good as well. So I feel like he can do something like that at home against another good Bills defense. And yeah, I'm just back on the train of Joe Burrow. I guess he'll lead them to a close victory with the Bills.
Cole Daly.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm jumping on that train. I'm gonna ride Joe Burrow to win city, baby. I think that calf injury looks a whole lot better. I think that he's been playing his best football of the entire season. I think that the Bengals defense is, as always, criminally underrated, and I think they're going to play the Bills really, really well. It's going to be a tough atmosphere. It's at we've got some since we got
At
some verses
Cincinnati.
here.
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's
say
at
if it's at
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, I think that's a big impact on the game. I think they show up. They're fans that show up. So I'm gonna go ahead and unfortunately pick the same as Joey Bernard.
All right, just to recap this week's picks, fade Joey Bernard, which I didn't twice, but him and I are going with the Chiefs over the Dolphins in Germany. We are all three going for the Eagles. Hopefully we don't lose another consensus game for the second week in a row. And then they are both going the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals over the Buffalo Bills. So it's sure to be another great week of NFL football. Hopefully Joey can get back into the race as the season continues on. We're about halfway through the NFL season now. It's so sad. Already
It really
halfway.
is.
We wait so long for it to get here.
I feel like it's been a quick season.
It has
It
been a
feels
quick season.
It just feels terribly like
quick.
Week 10 of college football, too. It's just,
Ugh.
you hate to hear it. But, Cole, I think we learned some things this past week, didn't
We
we?
sure did. We sure did. So for me, to go ahead and start this, as an NBA fan, you have to buy League Pass. It might be the best. Honestly, if you're a sports fan, like if you're just a guy that's just like that likes having sports on your TV at all times, NBA League Pass is maybe the best thing. Now, I can't promise that the NBA app on your Amazon Fire TV is the best thing of all time because sometimes I run into some pretty upsetting frustrations there. However, there's nothing better than getting done with the game on TNT and you just got done watching a really awesome Spurs and Suns game. And then you go, oh, man, is the NBA over? You check your phone, you go, oh, no, Clippers are playing the Magic right now. You know what I haven't watched any film on recently? Some Jalen Suggs.
There you
Markelle
go.
Fultz. Is Jonathan Isaac back to where he was?
I think so.
Oh, man, is James Harden, like, there's nothing better. I do so many scouting reports on all the new guys. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like, oh, it's going to be Mavericks versus Celtics. You know who I've watched 100 times at this point in my life? The Mavericks and the Celtics. When it's on ESPN or whether it's on TNT. But you know what's my absolute favorite thing in the world?
It's preaching right now.
Is watching Pistons versus the
Hornets.
Knicks in a random game.
Yeah.
And just being like, wow, look at the way that Asar Thompson rebounds the basketball. Like,
Man.
it's something excellent. And I think that if you are a true NBA fan, the $15 is worth it. I'd say it's far more value than NFL Red Zone.
Is there anything like special to it other than like you just watch games? Like, do you get any like perks, or can you like go back and watch full games maybe?
Yeah, you can any game that
okay.
you want to watch. Like I go back to certain dates and I'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that the Celtics played the Blazers today. I want to get some. I want to watch some
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton. How's he adjusting to his new system? You can go
Yeah.
back and watch the full game. Yeah, you don't have to watch ads. You can click out and just go onto a different game that's live, and usually they're all live at different times because they all start, and that means that you can literally be watching sports from 5:40 up until midnight that night, and
That's great.
that's what
That's
I
beautiful.
love. That's what I love.
That does sound great.
Joey, what'd you learn?
I don't really want to talk about it.
You old Bears fan over there? You
Yeah.
old Bears homer?
Yeah.
Just
super
don't listen
fan.
to me when it comes to sports. That's what I learned. As a Packers fan, going through probably the worst time to be a Packers fan in the last 30 years, I was high on Jordan Love earlier in the year. I was wrong about that. I have been wrong about my picks, obviously, as we mentioned throughout this podcast. I thought the Chicago Cubs would get into the playoffs and possibly make a run. We were wrong about that, me and Jay Cruz, but I was wrong about that too. I'm just wrong about sports. That's what I learned.
I think we all knew that for a while. How many of Joey's what you alerts have been about Jordan Love? Has he mentioned
About
Jordan
4
Love?
of them. I'd say
a lot of
probably-
them.
Probably 4.
Two.
I don't blame him though.
2 of them. I'd have
gotta
to
be
go
more than
back.
2.
I think it's 2 or 3.
I think it's been 2 negative and 2 positive.
Yeah.
It's probably week
'Cause I've
1.
had a
Jordan
couple-
Love is the guy.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
the franchise quarterback.
Packers own the Bears.
They do.
He is. I mean, he's correct there.
Packers own the Bears.
That doesn't stop.
Well, that's
Just
Jay
by
Cruz,
saying
what'd
it,
you learn?
by
What'd you
saying
learn?
it in a different voice doesn't make it false.
Well, it is. Well, that's probably what you said. Anyway, what I learned this week, the Big Ten West, let's go college football, right? They have seen an all-time low this week. Not only are the teams in the division so bad, but the quality of football is just despicable to watch. Now, on August 1st, 2023, the Chicago Cubs defeated the Cincinnati Reds 20-9. Now you're thinking to yourself, what the heck does this have to do with Big Ten West football?
Sure
Well,
is.
what are the total amount of runs in that game? 20 plus 9. I was actually there. 29 runs, right? Mm-hmm. This weekend at Wrigley Field, the Iowa Hawkeyes are playing the Northwestern Wildcats. The total amount of points for that game is 30.5. So it's not really something that I learned. I mean, I knew the Big Ten West was bad the whole time. But it's just an amazing discovery I made that there is a chance that a football game played at Wrigley Field will have less points than the highest scoring baseball game at that field this season. I just find that crazy. And honestly, Cole, 30.5 as an over-under for Iowa Northwestern. It's gonna be snowing too. Like, that game will probably go under. Iowa did just fire their offensive coordinator too, which.
But it's weird because he's
man to
staying
be-
the
that
rest
man-
of the year.
Oh
You see
yeah,
that?
yeah, he
Like
is
he's
staying,
leaving
isn't
after
he?
the bowl game.
They said he was fired, but it's like, yeah, he's fired, but like he's
But
still
he can
gonna be our
stay until the
coach.
end of the season. We still feel bad for him.
So yeah, this game is going to be, like, it'll be fun, but also terrible to watch at the same time. I think there was a game I heard this
What
morning.
about it could be fun? What are you talking about?
Just how bad Iowa is almost fun to watch now.
I guess.
Right, like you root for them to do something good, and the one time they might do something good in the game is like they won the Super Bowl.
Is it like
I can see-
watching?
yeah.
Is it like watching a movie that's so bad it's good?
Yes.
Like The Room.
No.
One of those.
Hey, Tommy Wiseau is a legend.
Tommy Wiseau is a legend.
But no, yeah,
I didn't know we were all room watchers in here, but that's anyways.
I've never seen the movie.
really?
I've seen a lot of clips though,
I'll be honest, I've never seen.
and I
it.
know that it's.
I watched the movie. Folks.
I know what people think about it. But no, the Big Ten West could not be worse. This game on Saturday is going to defile Wrigley Field, and I'm so sad that the friendly confines have to endure.
Why are they playing it at Wrigley? Can I ask?
The Northwestern does this every year. I think I don't know if it's every year, but they play. Last year I think they played Purdue at Wrigley
Interesting.
Field, and I think they've played like U of I there and different. Yeah, it's pretty cool honestly because Wrigley Field, many don't know, was actually a football stadium
Really?
before it was the
the
Bears.
Decatur Staleys at that time, or were they the Bears?
They're in Chicago, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. A little history lesson for the folks out there.
Love it. Gotta love a nice history lesson.
By Jay Cruz.
By Jay Cruz. Jay Cruz.
I
is
look
his-
like a history teacher.
Jay
today,
Cruz is
so,
history corner over here.
Yeah,
All right. You actually do. You
I do look
a
like a
lot
history
like
teacher. And Joey looks like a Bears super fan.
Oh.
Let's not forget about
You
this.
don't need to mention this.
Let's not
anymore.
forget about that.
Just
Can you
stop.
stand up one more time?
Guys, I'm wearing jeans today, isn't that?
Yeah, look.
I feel like
we're all
really-
dressed in things that
Wow,
we
this
would
is
never.
wild.
We were all dressed in things.
And that
things
was
we
it
would
for
never
the Inside
wear.
Sports Podcast.
This has been it for the Inside Sports Podcast. This has been episode 10. Yes, the DE is capitalized. It's been Cole, Joey, Jordan. If you're watching this on Spotify, be sure to like this and give us a follow. And then if you're listening to this on YouTube, I said listening, I should say watching.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and then hit the bell notification so that you know when we post, which is weekly every Thursday, in case you guys were curious. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. You all have a great rest of your day.